Okay, so what if a hero's purpose wasn't to save us, but to judge us? Today, we're going to tear into the blueprint for a totally new kind of protagonist, or, maybe an antagonist, named Wotan. And this is not your typical hero's journey. No, this is a deep dive into what the source material calls a Faust of the mind, a character built from pure philosophical dynamite. And this quote right here, this is the whole game. Wotan isn't just a character with ideas, he is the idea. Our story basically starts after a frail scholar has already been transformed into something so much more powerful and, frankly, absolutely terrifying. So first up, let's look at this transformation. How in the world does a man become a living, breathing, philosophical argument? Well, the key to understanding all of this is a really powerful concept called apotheosis.
So what is apotheosis? It simply means being elevated to divine status, becoming a god. Wotan is no longer human. He's crossed this incredible threshold, and he's left behind all the limits and the comforts of humanity to become an idea personified.
This really breaks down the character's DNA. Think of it like this. He's a blend of two massive, legendary concepts. One part is Nietzsche's Zarathustra, the prophet descending from his mountain with a new, really challenging philosophy. And the other part? That's Faust, the classic cautionary tale of a man who makes a dark wager for ultimate knowledge and power. All right, so now that we know what he is, what happens when this post-human being leaves his glorious isolation to actually confront the world? Spoiler alert, it is not about saving it, it's about judging it. The story unfolds in what you could call a series of tests, almost like a philosophical gauntlet. In each arc or episode, Wotan confronts a different pillar of our society, our governments, our religions, even the boardrooms where all the modern power is held. And in each case, he delivers what the source calls a thunderous verdict. See, he doesn't offer salvation. He offers a terrible freedom, which is the painful process of self-overcoming. And the alternative? The sweet oblivion of human comfort, of just staying exactly as you are. It's a pretty brutal referendum on the human condition itself, isn't it? And this brings us right to the central conflict. And believe me, this is not a simple story of good versus evil. The wager here is about the very nature of our existence. Of course, every Faust needs his Mephistopheles. But forget the horns and the pitchfork, okay? Instead, we get the ultimate cynic, the spirit who denies, rocking a modern business suit and representing that seductive pull of meaninglessness and comfort. And notice how the temptation has completely evolved here. The classic Faust, he was offered knowledge and pleasure. But Wotan, who already has this ultimate kind of power, he's tempted with something far more subtle, the comforting lie of belonging, the chance to just feel human again. And this is the core of the whole cosmic bet. Mephistopheles is wagering that even this post-human god will eventually break under the sheer weight of his own freedom and just beg to return to the simple, comforting limits of being human. So this whole wager, it forces us to confront a really difficult question. What kind of morality does a being like Wotan even operate by? Well, it's an alien morality, and that's exactly what makes him so deeply unsettling. The narrative just puts it right out there, this incredibly provocative question. Wotan's philosophy is built on rejecting what Nietzsche called slave morality. Think of that as the morality of the herd, right? It values things like pity and compassion because they make living together easier. So, from Wotan's perspective, is our greatest virtue actually our greatest weakness? And this comparison really drives the point home. A traditional superhero, they see a suffering city and they save it. Wotan sees a suffering city and he challenges it to surpass its own pain. He moves without compassion because he sees it as a trap, something that prevents real growth. He's not a savior, he's a catalyst. And from our perspective, right, from inside what the source calls the human shelter, that makes him a monster of absolute freedom whose very existence is terrifying because it shows us just how fragile our own values might be. So, where does all of this lead? Well, the end game for this whole philosophical journey is a confrontation with the ultimate consequence of choosing comfort over greatness. An entire story arc could be built around this terrifying concept of the last man. This is humanity at its end stage. This is the complete and total victory of Mephistopheles' philosophy of comfort above all else. Just picture this world for a second. Total safety, absolute comfort, no more striving, no more suffering, but also no more becoming. It's this stagnant utopia where the human drive for greatness has just been completely extinguished. This is Wotan's ultimate nightmare, and it's Mephistopheles' dream come true. The final battle, then, isn't about fists and explosions. It's this, the ultimate philosophical showdown. You have Wotan representing the will to grow and become, versus Mephistopheles, the spirit of denial who champions stagnation and just being. It's a conflict over the future direction of existence itself. And this final image, it just perfectly captures the character's true purpose. He isn't here to destroy society. He is a force of nature, a walking storm, and his presence simply reveals the truth, that all our comfortable structures, our little houses, were always just fragile illusions. The real question is, what's left for us when the storm finally passes?